One of the biggest problems a woman has is when a guy seems to be losing interest in you. And you know that one of the best ways to get him interested again is figuring out how to make him maybe a little bit jealous. Yeah, that's a way of getting him interested and activated all over again. Hey, this is Cavallo from datingfire.com. That's what we're talking about today. We're going to talk about how to make him jealous ethically and the right way and make him love you more. I'm going to give you 12 secrets. And of course, before we get rolling today, make sure you do the big three. Number one, make sure you like and subscribe. Why wouldn't you? This is great stuff. And turn on the notifications, the little bell indicator on that button. And of course, if you have any questions or you want to suggest a video, leave that down below. Hey, and of course, stick around to the very end, because just like a blooper reel, I got something good for you, another tip at the very end. It always seems like this guy's got another priority above you, right? You never feel like you're at the top of his list. And you probably know that if you stoke the fire a little bit, meaning using his emotions, that's a great way to inspire a guy to do something, to get off his butt. Well, guess what? Jealousy works. Now I'm going to show you how to use this powerful emotion to your advantage, because he should be feeling a little insecure from time to time. Am I right? The reality is we all get a little bit jaded. We all start to take our significant other for granted, and we don't pay attention like we should. Men are especially prone to this, and every so often he just needs a good kick in the butt. But Carlos, why jealousy? Isn't this manipulation? Isn't this evil? Look, if you ask any woman who has had a guy who isn't making her the priority, she doesn't care one bit how she gets the attention she deserves. She just knows she wants it. And you know what? You should get that attention. If you're jealous of the time he's spending with friends or with other people or his hobbies or his car, then you know exactly what I'm talking about, and you know exactly what you want him to feel about you. Jealousy can be used for good in your relationship because it makes him remember your value. It makes him remember his feelings that he may have put aside. It makes him remember how blessed and lucky he is to have you. It shows him you're still attractive and desirable, and other men actually want you. It makes him understand that you are not permanently obligated to be his. And it also reminds him how much he wanted you before the complacency set in. Just get rid of whatever boredom he might be feeling. Let me give you a rule here, though. Number one, use jealousy only for good, never to manipulate. Now, the reason I'm showing you this method is because it's ethical, because it's a win-win. When I show you psychological tricks like this, I assume that you are a good person, that you would never misuse or abuse these strategies. The other part is, it's not manipulation when you're doing it using your heart. If you do it with a heart-centered focus, it's not manipulation, it's inspiration. Jealousy motivates you to take action immediately to protect what you have, and you can't ask for anything more than that. Rule number two is jealousy is powerful, so only use a little tiny bit. It's kind of like a really powerful spice. Don't use a lot. See, one problem with jealousy is if you use too much, it can actually poison the relationship a little bit or make it leave a little bad taste in its mouth. So go easy and don't overdo it. You don't want to create toxic feelings between you and him, especially if he thinks you're playing games, which, by the way, if you do the way I tell you to do it, this is not going to happen. Keep him on his toes. Jealousy tactic number one is remember yourself. Look, the reality is that when you're in a relationship, sometimes you forget to make yourself a priority. You probably experience this more than once. Most women do. This happens very frequently for women. When you do, you stop showing him how he should treat you. Remember the saying, we teach others how to treat us. And we do this by how we treat ourselves. So make yourself a priority again for yourself. Pamper yourself. Remind yourself of your strengths. Remember your personal power. This is one of the things I have all my coaching clients do, and inevitably it always works. Jealousy tip number two is to drop a firecracker. One of the best ways to remind a guy what he could lose is to remind him that you are not always pining away for him. You weren't always into him. You had other boyfriends who really appreciated you. May have had other people who did too. Drop a little firecracker near him. Give him a little jolt by mentioning something from your dating past. Don't be obvious with this. Make sure it's something that fits into the conversation. For example, you're talking to him about where you want to go on vacation and what you're going to pack. And you could say something like, oh yeah, I remember when Tim and I went to Hawaii, we didn't bring nearly enough clothes and then we ended up having to do laundry there. We should try to avoid that. You see what I did there, right? Your ex-boyfriend Tim, you don't want to flaunt what you did with Tim. Just mention his name casually. You don't even need to go into any specifics. Your guy's boyfriend brain is going to do the rest for you. Next tip is be a little extra flirty. Look, if a woman wants to be constantly in demand, she must always play the role of the coquette. You're wondering, what is the coquette, Carlos? Well, Coquette actually means a woman who flirts. That's all it means. All of the most desirable women out there flirt a little bit all the time. Yes, even when you're married, you should flirt a little bit. Never disrespectful to your partners, but just enough to remind him you've got options. For example, the next time you meet up with some friends, make sure you give the guy's friends a little extra hug, maybe even a peck on the cheek. In fact, at this point, I want to make sure you're aware of something. No matter how innocently or casually you flirt, a man will always be a little bit angry, or he'll use his anger to demonstrate his jealousy. So you'll see anger, but it's really jealousy underneath. Yes, this means he might get a little bit mad, and that's okay. When a guy gets mad, most women, what do? They try and calm him down, pacify him. Oh, it's okay, baby. High demand women don't coddle their men. They also don't coddle his reaction. So let him get a little mad if he wants to. He's not really mad at you. He's mad at that he feels threatened. He's mad at himself. Guess when a man will put in the most effort? Guess when a man will work the hardest to keep you? Exactly, when he's feeling a little bit threatened and insecure. That's when he gets his butt in gear and he gets moving. Isn't that what you wanted? Don't wuss out on me. All right, next tip is pause the flow. Chances are he's gotten very used to you responding to his texts right away. You probably do this thinking that it's respectful and how you'd want him to treat you. In fact, you probably do it because it's been so long since he finally did text you back, you just jump on it. The problem here is that we don't treat people the way we are treated. We treat people the way they treat themselves, which is what I was saying earlier. My next suggestion for you is that you pause the flow. Slow down your texting to him, especially if you usually text him like every single day in the morning. Stop doing that. Increase the time between your texts. Create a little doubt in his head. If he usually texts you back on his lunch break, wait a little longer before you text him back. He doesn't have to get everything he wants right now. The more he waits on you, the more he's thinking about you. It's a very simple rule and it's always true. Here's another one of Carlos's big rules, and I want you to write this one down. If a guy feels like he's got you wrapped around his finger, he's gonna get lazy with his attention and his affection for you. It's inevitable. It always happens. Ultimately, a man isn't yours. He isn't truly yours until he begs you to marry him. That's another part of that rule, okay? Most women give up this game way too early. They make themselves way too easy. They end up chasing their man for the rest of their lives instead of the other way around. Which one would you rather have? And again, I can't cover every single tip here today. If you want to get the whole thing, go on over to datingfire.com. That'll fire you right over to the blog where you can get the article straight there and get all the tips. Next tip is go out somewhere fun and social, but only with the girls. If you're not already spending time with your friends, you may have fallen victim to one of the biggest traps of dating and relationships. This is the trap of forgetting your friends. Okay, a lot of women fall into a pattern of giving all their time to their boyfriend. This is one of the ways that you can really completely, totally sabotage your relationship. You should be going out with your girlfriends at least once a month if you can. Definitely no less than once every 2 months. First of all, your friendship could use it, but second of all, what's it going to do? It's going to make him pay attention more. You should definitely get out there to have dinner and drinks with some of your friends. No men allowed. Well, except the ones that hit on you, of course. Here's another tip, and this one's going to be hard for you, but it's the right thing to do, and I think you know it. Meet a stranger. Look, just because you're in a relationship, that doesn't mean you shouldn't be friendly and social. In fact, it's a good idea to talk to new people from time to time, especially men. If you happen to get approached by a guy who starts up a conversation, don't run away in a panic that you're somehow cheating on your boyfriend all of a sudden. You're not. You're just being social. In fact, if you find yourself worrying about this sort of thing when you talk to new people, like, oh my God, what would my boyfriend think? You should check in with yourself about that and figure out why. Make friends with new people. Expand your social circle, and if a guy happens to talk to you, you've got nothing to feel guilty about, girl. In fact, you might even want to mention it in conversation later on to him. Next tip is ignore him a little bit. If you've ever felt ignored by him before, then you know what I'm talking about here. You know the power of this, right? Every so often, he needs to feel what it'd be like to basically not have you. Make him wonder what you're doing, what you're thinking, and what you're up to without him. Plant the seeds of doubt and insecurity in him for once, instead of you always feeling that way. Just choose one evening or maybe a whole day of the week and just don't respond to him at all. No calls, no texts, you just disappear for a little while and do your own thing. Then you pick it up right where you left off the next morning, like nothing happened. Think about it this way. If you're a high demand woman, would you be responding to your guy every moment, every second of every day with a text or a phone call? No, you absolutely would not. You'd be too busy paying attention to your own busy life, your friends, your social circle. And that would be healthy, by the way. Remember, always act like the high demand woman you wish you were or want to be. Next tip is start dressing up again. There's a good chance you may have fallen into patterns of dressing in a more casual way after your relationship gets going. After all, you don't need to win them anymore, do you, right? Sorry, those yoga pants should not be your default attire. Get back to being in fashion again. The truth of the matter is you need to feel valued yourself. You need to value yourself and have other people value you. When you dress up and you go out, other men are inevitably going to pay attention to you. It's a good thing. You'll feel better about yourself. Another good thing, you'll probably get compliments and attention from lots of people. You'll keep this mindset of a high value woman because that's what they do. And of course, this will get his gears turning in his head. He's going to wonder, why did she suddenly decide to start caring about her appearance again? What's going on? And all you got to tell him is, look, I just want to get back to my old self. Let him figure out what that means. Here's one that you might already be using, but I'm going to emphasize you should be. When other guys approach you or ask you out, let them know about it. As soon as you start treating yourself like the high-value woman you are, other men are going to notice this. Other men will approach you and start talking to you and probably ask you out. Doesn't that feel good? Look, I'm just warning you because it's going to feel great. You're going to wonder why you didn't do this before. Maybe you'll feel a little bit squirmy about it at the start, but you'll get over that really quick when you realize what you were missing out on. And when other guys start paying attention to you, it should soak in. Just let it soak into you, okay? Don't misuse it or exploit it, but definitely I encourage you to validate this. Let this be a part of you. Let this realization really hit you that you are desirable. How does that feel? To know that. And when a guy does show you this kind of attention, just casually mention it to him. Let him absorb that concept fully. You're not trying to stir stuff up here. What we're trying to do is let him know what he should already be thinking. Oh my God, if I don't work to keep her, another guy will. Here's another quick one. This is really good and really easy. Just talk up a movie star. Back when I met my wife, she had a big crush on Brad Pitt. And he was probably the only Hollywood star she thought was hot. And every time she talked about him, a little part of me would bristle a little bit. After all, why isn't she talking about me like that? Besides the fact that I'm not Brad Pitt. Well, the truth of the matter is, most Hollywood stars wouldn't be very fun to date. They may look attractive, but their personalities are not very appealing, to say the least. But that shouldn't stop you from letting your boyfriend know about that one sexy celebrity that you love to look at, especially if you can bring it up in conversation around some of your girlfriends. Let him know subtly that this celeb really gets you going. You can do it with a little glowing look and smile or a deep when you see a picture. It can also be an inspiration to get him exercising again and him caring about his appearance. He knows on some level that he can't compare to the status of a hot movie star, and he probably never will. But this is something that all men struggle a little bit with. Why not use it to wake him up a little bit? Get him to want you and to want to win you all over again. And finally, what happens after he feels a little bit jealous? Will he come back to you? Well, don't be surprised if he does come back to you with double the energy once you've inspired him to stop taking you for granted. Most men who are emotionally attached will still actually enjoy this rush of feeling emotions about you again. It will awaken his desire. On the other hand, if he doesn't feel jealous for some reason, then you've got a serious problem that needs to be looked at. If he isn't jealous, that shows that you no longer inspire a fear of loss in him. That's huge. It probably means he isn't even in love anymore. Not only this, but it might mean he's already starting to date or look at dating other people. If you can't get a man to feel a little jealous, this means you have no influence over him, and that means you better act fast. If this is the case, you need a more serious plan to get him interested in you again. So these jealousy tactics are not just good for waking him up, they can also be an early warning system for a relationship that's in trouble. Jealousy, when properly used, is an effective tool in your arsenal. Don't be afraid to use it. Not to hurt the other person, but to make a point. Remind him that you're not going to be taken advantage of, or taken for granted, or ignored. Most women experience one problem more than anything else, and that is he starts pulling away from you. You need to know the real reasons that men run away from relationships. It's the most common problem women have. You got to know, first of all, if he's still interested in you, and then the next thing is to know how to get him to really commit to your relationship. What's holding him back? What is blocking him? What's stopping him? Well, I've got an easy way for you to figure that out. Going over to datingfire.com/helpmecarlos. That's datingfire.com/helpmecarlos. Just click the link down in the comment section below, and you can see, or the description below, and you can see that there. Click the link. Go check it out. It's a really quick quiz, just a few questions to figure out what is this thing that's stopping you guys from going where you want it to go. Are you trying to get him to just commit to you? Are you trying to get him to move in with you? Are you trying to get him to propose to you? What are you trying to get this guy to do? You got to be able to have an influence on your man. And if you can't influence him, being the woman, that's a problem in your relationship that has to be fixed. Look, don't assume you know this stuff. Most women today don't know all the rules of engagement when it comes to understanding guys. Guys do think a little bit differently. We want the same things, but we think a little differently. And you're never going to learn that listening to some of these pundits out there, these gurus, other gurus out there. Look, I'm a guy who knows how guys think. I've been teaching this for nearly 20 years now. I can show you how guys think and how to get him interested in you again. Yes, you can make him love you again. Go find out now. Go on over to datingfire.com/helpmecarlos. And of course, make sure you do the big three before you run away. Like and subscribe, because this is awesome stuff. I know you love it. Go ahead. If you stuck around, you must like it a little bit. Like it, subscribe, turn on notifications, that little bell indicator. And of course, if you want to suggest a video, go ahead and leave that in the comments section below, or even some questions down there. And of course, stick around. In a few seconds, I'm going to give you that one last tip. As always, this is Carlos Cavallo from datingfire.com. Live and love with passion. Here's a tactic that is deadly if you use it right, and it's very easy to use. I call it the touch tactic. Every so often, it's a good idea to casually touch another guy when you're in your boyfriend or your man's presence. What I mean by this is just a momentary hand on the arm of some other guy that you're with while you're with your man is a good idea. It's innocent enough that he can't really make a big stink out of it, but he'll feel that slight button push there. Don't you worry, he'll feel it, and he may even try to make it sound like it's your fault, but we know it's not. Don't fall for his games. You know that you're just innocently flirting. If he can't handle it, he's now just realizing that he doesn't have the hold on you that he thought he did, and it's time for him to wake up and smell that coffee, because that's what he needs.